Most Google advertisers fall into one of two camps. Either they log into their Google ad account and they are utterly confused. It's like trying to read hieroglyphs. Or they're using outdated Google ad strategies that don't work anymore because the pace of change when it comes to Google ads is absolutely nuts, and trying to keep up with all the updates is like trying to jump onto an already fast-moving train. So in this video, I'm going to give you my complete Google Ads playbook, the exact framework that we're using to generate literally tens of millions of dollars for our clients with Google Ads. Okay, so let me start by calling out the elephant in the room. Elephant! I should apologise right now and warn you, it's my youngest's first birthday today. I'm feeling in a particularly dad-jokey mood. That probably won't be the last in this video. But what I'm getting at by the elephant in the room is the big problem that a lot of Google advertisers are experiencing, because there are a lot of Google advertisers struggling to get good results right now. And there are a number of reasons for that. I'm going to quickly run through those and then you'll see how the playbook I go through addresses those things and will help you get better results, which is why I'm sure you're watching this in the first place. So firstly, we've got rising costs and rising cost per click, rising cost per conversion. For a lot of advertisers, I'm here to be the bearer of bad news. That's nothing new. That's been happening in Google Ads since I started advertising on the platform 16 years ago. It's not going to stop anytime soon. Anytime there's an advertising platform where you can reliably generate leads, sales, etc., costs are going to go up, more marketers join. That's inevitable, something we need to learn to deal with. Next, we've got tracking and attribution issues. Now, there have been many steps taken over the last however many years by, let's call them well-intentioned people, to help protect people's online privacy. Now, I understand why they're doing that, but it's really annoying for us marketers because we really want to be able to track what people are doing online, not for any nefarious reasons, simply because we want to be able to properly track results and attribute them to our ad campaigns or our other marketing efforts and be able to improve our performance and tailor and all that sort of stuff. We can have a debate over whether the steps taken to protect privacy have actually done anything. You could easily argue not, but they are in place, well-intentioned or otherwise. And again, that's something we need to overcome as Google advertisers. Then we've got offer fatigue. Now, I think that so many people running Google ad campaigns, marketers, have now been through Alex Hormozi's $100 million offers book, which you absolutely should, by the way. Free shout out to him. It's a great piece of content. And that has distorted the market for a lot of industries when it comes to the offers that people are using in their Google ads. It's almost like we're in an arms race for offers. One business offers something incredible, another one has to up it. Right, you're going with a 70% discount, we'll do 80%, well, we'll do 90%, well, we'll do 95%, we'll do 99% discount. It's like, great, you won the offer battle, but good luck making a profit with a 99% discount. I'm being over the top here, but I'm sure you may have seen this in your industry, if it's one where offers are prevalent, of people guaranteeing the most insane things. We will get you your absolute desired outcome in 45 seconds or less, or I give you 1/10 of the wine region in the south of France. Like, just insane stuff. And I see some of these things coming through in the marketing space where it's most prevalent. You think, you cannot possibly offer that guarantee. It's insane. Right, so we've got offer fatigue. And maybe in your space you can't win with the most insane offer because that's already being done. We need to find other ways to win. And then there's just too much reliance on outdated tactics, right? Like manual bidding is still used. I mean, manual bidding with Google Ads is like still communicating via pigeon, like sending letters through carrier pigeons. Very much outdated, not the way you want to go in almost all circumstances, but Google advertisers still use it. They overly segment ad groups still. There's far too much reliance on search. So a number of issues, some within a Google advertiser's control, some without, all of which we need to find ways around or overcome. And that's what this playbook is going to help you do. Right, so let's get started with play number one, and that is campaign structure. And Google advertisers love to debate campaign structure. So the overarching theme here of what I'm going to talk about when it comes to campaign structure is that we are consolidating campaigns. We are using far fewer than we used to. We used to separate out things into lots of detail, not just the campaign, but also the ad group level, doing that as little as possible. That's sort of the overarching thought process. So that naturally leads to the question of, okay, when do you separate out campaigns? Like, what do you have separate campaigns for versus what do you not have separate campaigns for? So let's run through some examples and I'll show you what that might look like within an ad account. Okay, so when you do want to actually separate campaigns, anything I don't mention, by the way, don't separate out your campaigns. So these are the things when you do want to separate out your campaigns. It would be brand versus non-branded search campaigns. So if you've got a campaign that is specifically designed to bid on either brand names of your products or the brand name of your company, a branded campaign, you're probably familiar with what that is. That wants to be kept separate from other campaigns, operates quite differently. You're really just sort of trying to make sure that when people search for that stuff, they find you as opposed to competitors, particularly if there are sneaky little competitors bidding on your keywords, on your search terms, which of course may well happen. So that'd be one instance. Another one might be location. So if we're targeting different countries, we might separate those out to different campaigns, particularly if we're going to need to tailor the messaging, maybe even change the language of your advertising, depending on, if you're advertising to countries where people speak different languages, obviously. You can do on a smaller basis, like if you're a local business and you have multiple locations, you might want, we have one campaign for in and around Bath, we have another campaign for in and around Oxford. You can tell I live in the Cotswolds in the UK, and these are two very nice cities near me. So that might be something that you do, different locations, either locally or nationally, statewide, something like that. And then, of course, we've got different product or service ranges. Don't do it for different product variations. So I don't want you to be selling a red hat in one campaign and a blue hat in another campaign. They can definitely be in the same campaign. But if you're selling hats and shoes, might make sense to do different campaigns. And obviously, you could do that with the product feed style setup, depending on the campaign type, obviously, if you're thinking of shopping or Performance Max and things like that, or it could be a search basis. But we've typically found that different product ranges or different services that are significantly different, it's not like a tiered approach. So if we had different services of, we've got entry level, mid-level, and then something a bit more advanced, if it's just a difference between price and like the level of service people get, still one campaign for the most part. But if it's different services, so for example, we offer Google Ads done for you services, we also offer Meta Ads done for you services. Those are different things. Yes, there's some crossover between our clients, but for the most part, we're going to keep those separate. We would use those separate campaigns. And then we've got the different campaign types, obviously. So if you're going to be running, say, search campaigns and Performance Max campaigns, well, they are obviously going to be different campaigns there. So those are the instances where we will segment. Not always, though. So sometimes we might keep, for example, with the locations, we might decide, we're going to leave those countries in together. We're not going to have a separate campaign for each individual country. So our business would be a perfect example. We work with businesses all around the world. We have clients in like 50 countries or something insane like that right now. And so we won't have, we don't advertise in all 50. We have our core markets. Let's say our core markets are going to be UK, US, Canada, Australia, for example, and then maybe some countries in Western Europe as well. Well, we're not going to have separate campaigns for all of those. Same language, same marketing message. We're happy keeping those together. So you don't have to always break out by these things. And where you draw the line on what's a different product variation versus what's a different product range is somewhat subjective. But those are general guidelines. Hopefully that is helpful. So our campaign structure, for example, might look something like this. So this is an example ad account. This is not something that's actually live, hence why these campaigns are in draft mode. But we've got here, our Heath branded search campaign. So people searching for me and Heath Media, my agency, they're going to find us as opposed to any sneaky competitors bidding on those terms. And then we've got 4 different campaigns. We've got Meta Ads done with you, Meta Ads done for you. We have a mentorship program as well as a done for you service, quite different offerings in terms of what's provided, but also the target audience. So we feel like those are separate enough to have separate campaigns. Could put them in together. We feel that's not the right way to go. And then we've got the replica there for Google Ads. And those are in draft. This is just to demonstrate how this might look. Now, you may have noticed that these are all search campaigns. It would look different if we were to add in other campaign types. And I would absolutely recommend that you do work with other campaign types. And in fact, that is play number 2. So let's move on to that now. Google advertisers are typically obsessed with search campaigns. It's what they focus on. They want to take advantage of the searcher's intent, which obviously leads click to more conversions than, say, putting ads elsewhere where it's more interruption advertising. And I think that because of that, search is a great place to start. But once you start generating some conversions, you absolutely have to expand to other campaign types. Not doing so, you're massively missing out. You're massively missing out for a few reasons. One, search is really expensive. Because you as a Google advertiser and probably all your competitors' Google advertisers are obsessed with search, it's potentially overvalued. It's certainly the most highly valued part. That means you're going to pay way more in terms of cost per click there than you would in the other elements of Google Ads. Ads on YouTube often, ads in display, definitely. Could even talk about shopping ads, but Gmail ads, Discover ads, all the other places where you can see Google ads, right? They are often less expensive elsewhere, and if you can crack those, lots of conversions. But also, only a very small percentage of most target markets is actively searching. There are going to be lots of other people in that marketplace who are just not there. They're not at that awareness stage of the marketing funnel. They're not actively looking, but it doesn't mean that you can't sell to them, doesn't mean you can't put your offer in front of them and get those conversions. Now, the best way to expand from just search campaigns is to use Performance Max, because the Performance Max campaign type incorporates all the other Google ad campaign types. Within a Performance Max, you can put ads on display, discover, Gmail, YouTube, shopping, etc., and also including search. Now, they are more complex to set up, which shouldn't be very surprising because they've got all these different elements, and it does require ad creative, images, video, and things like that, which leads me on to my next point. I'll get to that in a second, but first I want to quickly let you know about my Google Ads mentorship program, which gives you all the support you need to get the best possible Google ad results. And included in my mentorship program is exclusive educational material, stuff you won't find on YouTube, unlimited one-to-one support. You can literally ask us questions about anything you've got and we'll let you know what we think you should do, whether that's Google ad copy, campaign type, strategy, landing pages, marketing, your overall business, whether or not you should quit your job, sell your house, go live in the woods. We might not be experts on that last one, but we'll give it a go. We also offer multiple daily live calls, Q&As with me and my expert team members. If that sounds interesting, there is a link in the video description. Click on that, come through to a page on our website where you can book in a free, no obligation call with us, and hopefully we get a chance to work together soon. Okay, play number 3 is creative strategy. Now, I've already told you that you need to expand from the comfy, cozy corner of Google Ads that is search to other campaign types. My preferred option would be Performance Max. And Performance Max campaigns are going to ask you for some ad creative. So you'll get there, you'll be in the campaign creation stage, and you will see this section here. You'll be entering in all the stuff above it. That's all search-based stuff. Yeah, all fine, I'm comfortable with this. And then you will be asked for images and videos. And most Google advertisers are terrified of this. They treat ad creative like vampires treat sunlight. If they go near it, they will burst into flames. And I think Google advertisers tend to sit on the nerdier side of Google advertising. It's okay, I'm here with you. I'm one of this crew and have been for many years, but they like words and they like data, and going near creative things, videos in particular, all seems a little bit scary. Well, I'm here to give you some fantastic news, and I'm sure this is going to flood you with that joyous sense of relief when I say it. And that's, you don't need to learn how to produce high quality image or video assets yourself, because instead I'm going to recommend that you hire influencers to do it for you. Right? And before you think, whatever, I've heard this before. No, stay, don't go anywhere. That would be naughty. Listen, this is important. Why do that? Because influencers are much better at grabbing attention than a random person that owns a company that features in their Google ads because that's what they're supposed to do, and they were told to create a Performance Max campaign, and at some point they hired someone to create a video for them that they put on the homepage of the website, so they thought, that's a video, let's just use that in the campaign. Like, the influencer's much better at grabbing someone's attention because they're an influencer. They have face recognition, brand recognition. That's the first part. Secondly, their recommendation carries weight. Think of the people you follow and you trust in certain areas of things you're into. If they say, go buy this is great, probably more likely to do it than if some random person does, particularly the owner of the company. Also, they're good at it. Influencers become influencers because they're good on camera, they're good at grabbing attention, they're good at entertaining people, they're good at holding attention, all the things that you need from creative assets. Right, how to find influencers. I'm going to run through this quickly, right? So partner with micro-influencers and niche creators, not the big names that cost a huge amount of money. One of the barriers to entry for hiring influencers for Google advertisers is it costs too much money. No, if you have budget for ads, you have budget for influencers. There are so many people in so many industries with 100,000 followers that make virtually no money, and they do it all through brand deals and through creating ads and organic content for advertisers. They won't charge very much for it. They have recording setups. I'm sat here in my recording setup. This is ready to go all the time, easy for me to do. I charge a lot, but then I work in a very lucrative industry. Most people don't. So you can do this relatively inexpensively. If you have money for ads, you have money for influencers. So you can start by simply creating a list. You probably already know a lot of the names you'd like to work with within your space, and then reach out to them. Some are going to ignore you. Some will say yes. Some are going to charge too much, you don't work with them. Some are not going to charge as much as you expect, which is fantastic. Some, when you work with, their stuff's not going to be as good as you hope for. But when you do find those ones that can produce fantastic ad creative for you and do stop the scroll or grab people's attention, do hold their attention, do perform really well, do engage, do entertain or do educate, do what you need them to do in order to present your offer to a much larger audience, the improvement you can see in your return on ad spend is absolutely night and day. And doing this means you don't have to learn those skills as a Google advertiser. You can just go ahead and work with these influencers and they can take care of it for you. You can get back to the words and the data and the parts that you're comfortable with. And I've recommended this to probably hundreds of thousands, maybe even low-level millions Google advertisers through my content at this point. Almost no one does it. I think the same personality type that makes us Google advertisers a bit nerdy and we like words and data and we don't like creative also makes us, shall we say, a little bit socially awkward, a little bit nervous to slide into someone's DMs and be like, oh, please, please, sir, would you mind promoting my product a little bit? I think it would do really well. It would align with your audience and we could get lots of sales and pay you money based on those sales. People are reluctant to do that. So just get over it. Reach out to the people, make yourself do it, slide into those DMs with your chest out. I'm not quite sure how you actually do that, but you know what I mean? Like just be a boss and go and get in touch with these people. Some are going to say no, don't give up. I have some companies contacting me as an influencer that really don't give up. I kind of wish they would, but I also respect the hustle. And they're just constantly, like every couple months, they're like, we want to work with you. We want to do that. Just leave me alone. Anyway, but be like that and find these people, work with them. Your Google ad results will thank me later. And because your competitors who are also running Google ads to try and get leads and sales and whatever it is that you offer, because they're not willing to do this because it's hard and they like words and data and a little bit socially awkward, it means you get extra competitive advantage. When things are difficult, you get to win more if you can force yourself to do it. Next play is budget and scaling. What should we enter into this devilishly simple little box here for our daily budget? Well, I've got some thoughts on that I want to quickly run through because I think this might be really helpful for those of you that are wondering, how much should I spend? How do I scale? All that sort of stuff. Firstly, start with a budget that you can afford to lose. There's no guarantee that your Google ad campaign will work really well out of the gate, and should it fail, you don't want you or your company to be in financial difficulty. So start with something you can afford to lose. But don't make it so small that you don't care. It doesn't want to be a rounding error. It doesn't want to be a tip that you would leave when you go to a restaurant. It wants to be something that you can lose it, but it would sting a little bit. Don't really like the sound of that. That's normally the sweet spot where you're going to care, but it's not going to put you in difficulty if it goes wrong. So start small, test, find winners, whether it's influencer ad creative or other elements, could be other offers and all sorts of things within your Google ad account, and then look to scale those. Don't go mad when you scale. I've got videos on the right way to scale, so search for those. I won't go into the details of that in this video. But also when you scale, don't just increase the budget. Yes, that's a part of it. Also look to increase the other elements of output. So do we need more creatives to be able to make our Performance Max campaign scale further? Do we need to come up with more offers to be able to keep things fresh and allow us to reach more people? Maybe the current offers reach this segment of target audience well, but maybe they don't reach this segment of target audience well. Let's look to go ahead and add these in. Right, next play is data. So you have to get both browser and server-side tracking set up. Google's AI, which does a lot of the heavy lifting, needs accurate data, it needs conversions, it needs to know who is converting, who isn't, in order to be able to optimize properly and get you the best Google ad results. Sounds boring, sounds like an afterthought. It absolutely isn't. And actually, when you get to high levels within the advertising industry and you start speaking with the biggest spenders, whether these are agencies working with massive companies or often internal teams working with these massive companies, one of the things you notice is they are absolutely obsessed with data quality. Like they dedicate so many resources to it. So you'll have performance marketing teams in big companies will have data scientists and people who are just obsessed with improving attribution 1 or 2%. They know how important this can be. Now, a lot of Google advertisers are quite technical, but a little bit on the nerdy side. But I'm one of those unfortunate nerds that isn't very technical, probably not smart enough to work out all those details. So I don't know the complexities of all the tracking setup. It's probably why I don't make videos on it, to be perfectly honest. I can do a basic conversion tracking setup, but anything more technical just gets a little bit far for me. But if I just go into a website like Fiverr and I search for Google Ads tracking, and if we just have a quick look at what comes up, we can see this top result here is Google Analytics and Google Ads conversion, all the various tracking, Google Tag Manager setup, etc., all the stuff you need. 611 ratings at 4.9 out of 5 stars. So pretty confident that this person is quite good at getting conversion tracking set up. And it costs from 18 euros. Not quite sure why Fiverr delivers me search results in euros when I'm in the UK, but whatever. Yes, there's really no excuse. Like if you're not technical and you're like me and you're like, oh, I'm not really smart enough to work out this myself, there are plenty of people that will do it for you and they won't charge a lot of money for it. So come over to a website like Fiverr, like Upwork, and get them to do it for you. But you need both browser and server-side tracking set up. No excuses for not. You're really just shooting yourself in the foot when it comes to your Google Ads if you don't. Also make sure that you get external data, so things like email lists added to your Google Ad account, and then segment out. So let Google know who your customers are, but also who your high value customers are. If you're able to accurately track that, be like, yeah, we get all these customers, but this top 10%, this top 20%, those are the ones that are really valuable. Those are the ones that we really want. Because if you get that data added to your Google Ad account, that can really affect how Google optimizes your campaigns. And you can say to Google, hey, don't just get me more customers, get me more new customers or get me more new high value customers. And you do that very simply. If I jump back into this campaign creation window, if we jump to bidding, you can see we've got this custom acquisition section. We can select here, adjust your bidding to help you acquire new customers. If I go ahead and click set up, we can basically increase our bid to say, look, I'm willing to pay more for new customers. And then we've got this new customers high value section, which if we scroll down, we've got add an incremental conversion value for new customers high value. So you're like, you know what? I'm willing to pay 2 or 3 times as much for one of these new high value customers because they're worth 10 times more to my business. A great trade, but you need to feed Google the data to be able to do this. If you want to know more about how to set this up, by the way, I've got a bidding strategy video you can check out that runs through all the details. I'm just quickly mentioning it because it's an important part of getting the best possible Google ad results, right? And then of course, for the ultimate when it comes to data accuracy and tracking, you should use Hyros. Hyros is fantastic tracking and attribution software and can really help you improve your Google ad results. It's a software that all the big players in the industry use, including myself. I use it to track results for my own ads across multiple platforms, including Google Ads and all my organic results as well, which is super helpful. So if someone, for example, comes through and books a call for our done for you services, I can see exactly where that person came from. This is particularly important if you're running ads across multiple channels or generating customers organically as well. Without accurate data, you are flying blind, and knowledge is power. So let me show you how important this is. So I'm here in my Hyros dashboard. I'm going to take a look at the data and the results that Hyros has been able to track and compare those to what I'm seeing within my Google Ad account for the same campaign. So this is a Google Ad campaign that we've been running. We're only looking at data for a few days here, but it really demonstrates what's going on. So you can see Hyros has registered 6 leads generated, a cost per lead of just over £15, 75 clicks. It's just a branded search campaign, hence why the CTR is 30%. So not a huge amount going on, but representative, right? So that's the data we can see within Hyros. If I jump over to my Google Ad account, we look at the exact same campaign, same time frame. We've got May 21st to 27th. You can see a lot of the data matches up, right? We've got 75 clicks, 30% CTR just like before. But if we scroll over, you can see that Google has only registered 3 conversions as opposed to the 6. So it's registered half the number of conversions. And I can tell you, looking at the back-end data, that the 6 from Hyros is the accurate number. And that's why this is so important, because we might look at the Google Ads data and come to the wrong conclusion, think this isn't profitable, turn stuff off when we shouldn't, but we can verify it with the Hyros data and make much better, more informed decisions and end up with better overall ad results because of it. So if you want to improve the performance of your Google Ad campaigns and be able to see exactly where your leads and sales are coming from, go ahead and sign up to Hyros. There is a link in the video description. And play number 6 is measurement and optimization. So it's really easy within a Google Ad account to get lost in the weeds and all the details and think, oh, I've got to monitor, my click-through rate, and I've got to monitor this metric and that metric. And what I want you to do is just simplify when it comes to optimization and bring it down to, we're going to primarily look at our return on ad spend or our cost per conversion, if all your conversions are equally valuable and that's what you're optimizing for, to base 90+% of our optimization decisions around. And that's when you decide, does this campaign work or not? Does this ad creative work or not? Does this offer work or not? It's around that, because that's what determines the profitability of your ad campaigns. That's what determines whether or not you can scale, how viable it is, how much money you make, which is the whole point of doing this in the first place. So it's really easy for Google advertisers not just to get lost in the weeds, but to assess or get sort of fixated on these vanity metrics. Yeah, our return on ad spend not very good with this campaign, but look at all the clicks, look at all the impressions. That's silly. That's like training in the gym and like just working out your arms, right? And never doing anything in legs. I mean, I do that because you never see my legs, so I just train my arms and doesn't matter. In fact, most of you probably think I don't even have legs. I may show you one day. Anyway, number 7, take a bird's eye view. No matter what you do in your Google Ad account, no matter how perfect your ad campaign is set up, if you don't have something to offer that is objectively good and differentiated from some way from what your competitors offer, there's only so far a really good ad campaign can take you. And that is not easy to do. It's really hard to make the best thing in your space, or to make it better than your competitors, or to really differentiate your branding in a way that makes people want to buy your hats instead of another person's hats, or insert product service offering of your choice. But that is something that you need to do if you want massive long-term success. We've worked with so many Google Ad clients, and many of them we've seen absolutely explode. And to a business, they have an offering that is objectively good. They're not offering the same quality product when other businesses offer it for 30% less on Amazon. They have found a way to either offer something more valuable. In fact, it's often that way as opposed to a lower price. But sometimes you work with businesses, they just outcompete everyone on price. And That's a great competitive advantage. But there needs to be something else, something external. Next, check out this video which includes my Google Ads optimization checklist. It runs through all the optimization actions that you need to take within your Google Ad campaign, how often you should do each one. You need to make sure that you don't do certain things too many times, otherwise it's bad for your Google Ads. I know what you were thinking. It's bad for your Google Ads. Anyway, whatever, go ahead and check out this video.